When it comes to making trades, the Dallas Cowboys are typically the buyer and not the seller. They proved that last season when they acquired Tavon Austin, Jamize Olawale, and Jihad Ward via trade, and could be looking to the same once again this offseason. That's why today I want to talk about the Cowboys putting in a call to the San Francisco 49ers to inquire about potentially trading for Solomon Thomas. New 49ers defensive line coach Kris Kocurek is rumored to be evaluating Solomon Thomas's film in order to determine his fit and future with the organization moving forward. This is no easy task. In his 2 years in the league they've tried Thomas at NDT, but unfortunately the former no. 3 overall pick in the 2017 NFL Draft has yet to find his footing at either position. Being a man without a position doesn't bode well for Solomon Thomas, especially after the 49ers acquired defensive end Dee Ford from the Kansas City Chiefs last week via trade. The 49ers are suddenly stacked along the defensive line. That's not all though, things could actually get worse for Thomas. To further complicate matters, the 49ers could use their second overall pick in the upcoming 2019 NFL Draft on either Nick Bosa or Quinnen Williams. If that's what indeed happens, someone is going to be the odd man out. If you haven't guessed it yet, I think that player could be Solomon Thomas. San Francisco 49ers deal Solomon Thomas as a former high first-round draft pick. Thomas would count $7,678,468 against the salary cap in 2019 and $8,958,213 in 2020. That's probably more than the 49ers want to pay for a rotational, backup defensive lineman. And cutting him this season would create $16.6 million in dead money, so a trade is the logical solution. With all that in mind, it wouldn't surprise me if San Francisco puts Solomon Thomas on the trade block any day now. He is only 2 years into his 4-year rookie deal and comes with a 5th-year option as a former first-round draft pick. That means if a team does trade for him they have him under contract for essentially 3 more years. If you add all of this up, it makes a lot of sense for the Dallas Cowboys. They need defensive line help and Solomon Thomas needs a fresh start. The Cowboys would get a young versatile defensive lineman and the 49ers get to dump his contract while also receiving some compensation in return. It's a win-win for all parties concerned. I know what you're thinking though. What would the Cowboys have to give up in the trade? Well, it might not be as much as you think. Fortunately, Thomas's failure to make an impact his first 2 years in the NFL favor the buyer, in this case the Dallas Cowboys. He has only 4 career quarterback sacks, 3 of which came in his rookie season. Stats of course don't always tell the entire story, but game film does. Unfortunately for Thomas, he can't escape his poor play. I believe it wouldn't take more than a 2019 4th-round draft pick to get Solomon Thomas away from the 49ers. Remember, just last season the New England Patriots sent a 3rd-round draft pick to San Francisco and received defensive tackle Trent Brown and the 5th-round pick in return. Brown was a more proven player and was in the last year of his contract. I don't know about you, but I kind of like the idea of Solomon Thomas in a Dallas Cowboys uniform. If anybody can tap into his potential, Rod Marinelli can. Giving up a 2019 4th-round pick is well worth the gamble in my opinion. Do you think the Cowboys should inquire about trading for Solomon Thomas? The Dallas Cowboys are reportedly brining defensive lineman Malik McDowell into the Star this week for a visit, as they decide whether or not to potentially sign him for the 2019 season. McDowell is a former 2nd-round pick of the Seattle Seahawks, who fell to day 2 because of what scouts call off-the-field, or character, concerns. McDowell did not last long with Seahawks, as he was released in 2017 following a TV accident in which he reportedly suffered extensive brain and eye trauma, according to Charles Robinson. None of us know much about who Malik McDowell is as a person, or what concerns there really should be with his health. But what I do know is that on tape at Michigan State, McDowell was a top 5 to 10 player in the 2017 draft class. He was a stud, and has the traits to continue to be a stud in the NFL. The 2017 NFL Draft is chock full of talented, athletic, and productive defensive linemen. While most of the draft pundits have focused on edge rushers thus far, the defensive tackle class also possesses some of this year's top NFL prospects. Arguably the best of those defensive tackles is Michigan State's Malik McDowell. Back in 2017 I wrote a full scouting report on McDowell, detailing why he earned such a high grade on my board. McDowell is a versatile lineman who is explosive off the ball, powerful and rangy against the run, and a skilled pass rusher who plays with a high motor. What more could you really ask for? McDowell is a patient pass rusher at times, setting up the blocker how he likes and then beating them with ease. McDowell's ability to swipe hands off helps him greatly, but his quick swim is his most effective pass rush move. On this play he uses that swim to perfection, forcing the center to power down to the right before swimming back to the other side. Check out this video on Streamable using your phone, tablet or desktop. When the Spartans went to a three-man pass rushing front, McDowell moved to the edge often and made plays with his quick, active hands and impressive swim move. He was much more impressive on the interior, however, and could be a direct replacement for David Irving as an explosive and powerful 3 technique for the Cowboys. Check out this video on Streamable using your phone, tablet or desktop. I love that the Cowboys are bringing McDowell in for a free agent visit. His price will likely be low, as he is yet to play in an NFL game over the last 2 years, but his ceiling remains very high if he is healthy. It's rare for a player with his college production, natural ability, and measurables to completely fail in the NFL. Maybe all McDowell needs is a second chance to get his head right and prove that he belongs in the league. Maybe he flames out quickly and can't get on the field due to off-the-field stuff. Or, maybe he simply isn't healthy enough to contribute as an NFL player. Regardless, for the price he'll likely command, McDowell is well worth the risk if the Cowboys are willing to take it. When the news broke Monday that veteran wide receiver Randall Cobb was visiting the Dallas Cowboys, most immediately assumed he would be a logical replacement for the departed Cole Beasley. When you take a look at the film and each of their skill sets, however, you quickly see this is likely not the case. While Cobb would be able to play in the slot as a receiver for the Cowboys if he signs, his value extends much further than just a slot receiver. Where Beasley makes his mark with precise route running, short area quickness, and third down reliability, Cobb is much more of a threat after the catch. He's not the route runner that Beasley is, and really isn't an upgrade over Beasley as a receiver, but Cobb would be able to help the Cowboys become more diverse in their offensive schemes. Similar to Tavon Austin, Randall Cobb can be used in pre-snap motion and jet sweep packages, as well as a traditional running back. A college quarterback, Cobb's versatility is what makes him so attractive to NFL teams. Cobb would actually fit more of the Lance Dunbar, scat back role of sorts for the Cowboys than that of the Cole Beasley slot receiver role. His versatility, however, allows him to carve out a lane within the offense which they haven't quite had before. Another area Cobb could help the Cowboys is when the play breaks down. With experience in the Packers' offense playing with arguably the greatest improviser we've ever seen in Aaron Rodgers, Cobb would be able to help Dak Prescott down the field when he breaks the pocket and the play is off schedule. So often last season, we talked about how the Cowboys' offense is reliant on remaining on schedule, staying in front of the chains and not having to force the ball downfield. Unleashing the Mississippi State version of Dak Prescott, where he can improvise and use his legs to create big plays, tends to be when this offense is at its best, however. Randall Cobb won't be a Pro Bowler if the Cowboys sign him, and depending on the money he receives, it might not even be a lock that he makes the final roster. but Cobb would be an exciting addition to Cowboys offense, which has lacked creativity over the last few seasons, and is looking to reinvent themselves to a certain extent. A receiving core headlined by Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup, with versatile weapons such as Cobb and Tavon Austin behind them, is a pretty good one to head into draft day with. Signing Cobb would keep the Cowboys from needing to take a wide receiver early in the draft, and would allow them to easily shut Allen Hurns if a receiving weapon did fall to them at 58th overall. James D. Smith VAP. Let me first start by saying this is not the case. The Cowboys can find ways to pay both Ezekiel Elliott and Byron Jones over the next 2 off-seasons, securing leaders on each side of the ball. But last week a couple of Twitter polls got me very interested in this topic, and I wanted to expand on my thoughts. It all started when longtime Cowboys reporter Mike Fisher wrote that as the Cowboys look to sign their own free agents, Byron Jones will likely be the one who gets squeezed out. So, while Elliott, Dak Prescott, DeMarcus Lawrence, Amari Cooper, and Jalen Smith remain with the team, Jones will likely be off to find a new home. If you can only pay one, it should be. I put up this poll, pitting Jones against Elliott, and Jones came out as the winner. My colleague John Williams put out the same poll, but with Elliott running away for the victory. Inspired by my teammate at Kevin Brady 88, if you can only pay one, which would it be? His had many more votes, which likely makes his poll a bit more representative of the fan base's feelings, which reminds me, follow me on Twitter at Kevin Brady 88, plus, I have been carrying the Byron Jones flag for quite some time, so it's possible my followers are biased towards Jones. Either way, let's examine the situation here. On one hand is Ezekiel Elliott. The former 4th overall selection in 2016, Elliott has led the league in rushing 2 of his first 3 seasons in the NFL. While this is true, his ability and usage as a receiver deserves to be questioned, and his lack of touchdown production in comparison to some other elite-level backs is concerning as well. Yes, this is not totally his fault, as Scott Linehan and an overall lack of offensive weapons outside of Elliott have handcuffed him a bit. But if we are going to place the blame for his faults onto others, then we should at least attribute some of his excellent raw rushing totals simply to opportunities. Elliott carried the ball 304 times in 15 games, averaging 20.3 rush attempts per game. The next closet player in terms of total carries, Saquon Barkley, who carried it 261 times in 16 games, averaging 16.3 rushes per game. That's a massive gap. No individual running back is taking the wear and tear that Elliott is on a per-game basis. And while it helps make his raw rushing totals look outstanding, it is also likely hurting his shelf life as an elite runner in the NFL. The main argument I received supporting paying Elliott over Byron Jones was that while cornerback is more important than running back in a vacuum, Elliott is such a special player that his importance is greater than that of a normal running back. Maybe, but let's talk about how special Byron Jones is and can be. https://t.co/3wwkpl4qm7 Jones spider chart puts him in elite company, with the likes of Jalen Ramsey, Antonio Cromartie, and Terrence Newman. Except Jones was even more athletic than each of these Pro Bowl caliber cornerbacks. Cornerbacks with the athletic profile that Byron Jones has rarely ever missed, and most of the time they reach an all-pro level. This is exactly what Jones did in 2018, getting named second-team All-Pro and to his first Pro Bowl in the same season. Both these honors also came during his first season as a full-time cornerback. Imagine what his ceiling can look like as he continues to work with Kris and get more comfortable in his permanent home. There's no doubt that Jones struggled a bit more in December last year than he did in September, but he was playing at a pace few players ever have played at or kept up over a long period of time. Even accounting for these struggles, Jones was graded as the 6th best cornerback in all of football by Pro Football Focus. Elliott, on the other hand, had his overall value questioned by PFF. Of course PFF is not the be-all end-all here, but it's certainly a piece of the argument. Both Elliott and Jones will command top money at their position whenever it is their turn to get signed. The Cowboys have struggled for years to find themselves a number one cornerback. Despite paying Brandon Carr big money and trading up for Morris Claiborne, it simply hasn't worked. Really, since Newman began aging, they haven't gotten that guy. On the other hand, Dallas produced two 1,000-yard rushers back-to-back seasons before Elliott even became a Cowboy. Running back is a more replaceable position at the top than cornerback is, and if Dallas believes that Jones should be considered at the top of his position group, then the choice between the two becomes clear. I will say, however, that there is a human element to this as well. Elliott is a clear leader on this team, and if the Cowboys strong-armed him out of town, it could have serious implications across the roster. Jason Garrett loves Zeke, Jerry Jones loves Zeke, and quarterback Dak Prescott loves Zeke. Zeke is going to get paid by the Cowboys, I have no doubts or issues with that, but if all these guys getting paid squeezes an all-pro corner out of town, that could bite this franchise in the butt down the line.